Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It is Saturday, November 23rd, 2013, and I'm going to do a little video on the ARNA pharmaceutical chart because we had a good week and we may be on the cusp of some significant positive developments technically for the stock. Before I talk about it, though, I want to remind you that if you go to my website, it's for educational purposes only, as is this video, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. And let me say right up front, if you don't like drawing lines on charts, do something else with your time, okay? There's some people who don't believe in technical analysis. That's fine, but don't watch the video and then complain that I do. So here we go. First, a brief overview on a 3-day chart. ARNA had been in a triangle pattern, which is seen a little bit easier if I make this a blue color here. And by the way, yeah, I know there are lots of lines on this chart. Just pay attention. Here's the top boundary of this triangle. Here is the bottom boundary. I thought all throughout the spring that this would end up breaking to the upside. And if I had to do it all over again without knowing that it went to the downside, I would still say that. So sometimes the chart just catches you by surprise. So we broke to the downside, and with a target of the low fours. We get to that target by measuring the height of the pattern from the spot where it broke down, and we get an expected low target. Actually, I think it was right around 420, 418, something like that, and we got that. So the chart worked perfectly. What didn't work was my insistence on hanging on to my shares, which I did, but I added on these dips all throughout this leg down. Now let's take a look specifically at what happened as we started to see that weakness develop, breaking down this triangle. Okay, here we have to go to a 2-hour chart. This is the upper boundary of the triangle. This is the lower boundary. Okay, we broke down, back tested that line, and then right after that back test started to accelerate the selling pressure. Now, interesting to note that from the last touch at the top of this triangle, we had a fairly decent looking channel developing here between these two light purple lines. The last time when we back tested back here in early August, we then started to move down in an accelerated channel that is shown here in these turquoise lines. We broke down underneath this descending channel that is the larger purple channel. And at that point, we also broke down underneath this descending turquoise line, which really, you know, if nothing else, that says that all of the selling from June through the middle of September, actually the end of September, all of that selling had been in a very controlled it was selling pressure, to be sure, but it wasn't just this panic that we saw starting in early October. And frankly, I think this was capitulation by longs. And really, that's one reason why I stayed with this, believe it or not. If we had just sold down in this channel over just day in and day out, continuing in a controlled manner, that to me is a little bit more frightening than when you see the bottom break out and people sell in panic, because that usually tells you we're getting ready to put in a bottom. And in this case, it looks that way, because not only are we now clearly above this turquoise line that was the accelerated selling channel, we are now, for the first time since June, over this top resistance line in that descending channel that started back right at product launch for Belviq. And let's take a little bit closer look. You can see here on the hourly chart that we're getting really nice volume signals where these rallies are on significant buying pressure, and then the little sell-off dips that we have, these are taking place in less volume. Very good sign. The thing too that I want to show you real quickly here is we talk about gap support and gap resistance. When you have a downward gap, when you approach that level that was in place before that gap took place, you usually get gap resistance. Okay, we got that here. We got it again somewhat right here. But it looks like right now, for the first time, ARNA has closed above that gap resistance level. And that is at approximately 575. I think that's a pretty good sign. I mean, we're not hugely over it, but I think we're over it enough to where we can start to look at this and say, it looks to be that the market for ARNA shares is firming up enough to where that gap resistance may be able to be overcome. That would be a hugely positive thing, because if we can get over that, and also get over about $6, then I think there's a very good chance that it could run up for another dollar and a half or so before we start to hit any other significant reasons to expect resistance. And those reasons come from that triangle. This is our lower support line that is broken, and this is our upper resistance line that never broke. So these two lines right here would represent resistance. Additionally, if you look at where the apex for this pattern is, it is right at about 775. I would expect resistance at 775. If we were to really see a strong rally out of ARNA, and we get up over that apex level, and right now we're about 60% the way there in just 2 weeks. But if this rally could get over this little apex level right here, that would be setting up a move likely to test this this line up here, which is at about, let me just tell you what it is. Slightly descending, and it's around 12. And it stays around 12 for the next 4 or 5 months. So look, guys, it's looking really good coming off this bottom right here. We kind of got in the pre-market lows of that day when we were right around 4, when it got down into the 380s. That was quote closing this gap. But what it really was, it was gap support. So what we saw on this bounce at the closing of this gap is what I was a little bit on the lookout for as we come up to this gap down right here. But hey, let's hope that we get a little bit more momentum. And like I said, the really good news is that this fairly long-term resistance line that we see right here, no matter how you draw that line, and these tops do not match up exactly perfectly, but right now it appears that we are wanting to get up and beyond and over this descending resistance line right here, which would be a very, very significant technical development in this stock. So there you go. Hope I didn't talk too long, and if I did, please forgive me. And if you were able to stick with it, I hope you got something out of it. Thanks for watching. Take care.